करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्री गुरुचरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारी बरनऊ रघुबर विमल जसु जोदायक फलचारी। बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु हरहु कलेश विकार। जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर। रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा। विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी। कंचन बरण विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा। हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजे। शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन। विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर। प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा। भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज समारे। लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हरषि उर लाए। रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरतहि सम भाई। सहस बदन तुमरो जस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे। सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा। जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सके कहाते। तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा। तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण माना सब जग जाना। जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर फल जानु। प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही। दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे। होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी सरना। तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना। आपन तेज सम्हारो आपै तीनों लोक हाँकते कापे। भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे। नासै रोग हरे सब पीरा पत निरंतर हनुमत। संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम बचन ध्यान जो लावे। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, सकल तुम साजा, और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे। चारों जुग पर ताप तुम्हारा, है पर सिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नवनिधि के दाता, असबर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे, दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुबरपुर जाय, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित्तन धरई, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरै। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई। जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई, छूटहि बंदी महासुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा। की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरण, मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहु सुरभूप। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय। Yesterday we looked into Hanuman ji, how he was one of a kind, that whoever had been touched has been influenced by Hanuman ji's presence in their lives. Their life completely transformed because of the upakara that was done by Hanuman ji. And the upakara is not anything small. Direct Ramapada. And Tulsidas ji himself was a direct beneficiary of Hanuman ji's great beneficiary presence, without whose presence probably Tulsidas ji would not have had the opportunity to have darshan of Bhagwan Sri Ramchandra. So he says, Ram दुआरे तुम रखवारे, होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे. You cannot get close to Sri Ramchandra ji without Hanuman ji's help. And Hanuman ji is very eager to help, as he had helped personally Tulsidas. What is the attitude with which all these great devotees had the benefit of Hanuman ji helping them? Now, Hanuman ji's help is directly available to those people who carry this attitude in their hearts. Next 4 or 5 dohas, we will be looking into that. So yesterday somebody was asking me, Swamiji, in Sundarkand, there is a chronological order to all the events of Hanumanji. Why is Hanuman chalisa such, looks like hodgepodge? It is not a hodgepodge, but it may appear so because we are trying to look for a chronological order. But here it is not the chronological order that is being narrated, it is more so of the characteristics of Hanumanji and development of that characteristics so that I can meditate upon it. So that I, as a student or a devotee, as a seeker or as a devotee, how can I Kramena grow in that order? Therefore, this appears that there is one story of his childhood time, then suddenly there is a bigger Hanumanji's effort, and then suddenly it goes back. So you have to understand this as there are some of these intense movies where there is a story narrative being developed, where there is a little bit of flashback, a little bit of that event, and the story is narrated so that the character is built. So this is to be understood from that kind of a story plot rather than chronological order. Am I getting across? Clear? So now we'll get back to what should be the attitude. So he says, first, सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी सरना, तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना. Looks very simple. All that I ask for, care for, need for is your refuge, O Hanumanji. सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी सरना. And my firm belief is that when you are there with me, तुम रक्षक, protecting me, काहू को डरना? What else is there for me to fear about anything or anyone in this creation? So let's go back to the first sentence. सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी सरना. Every day when we do Arati, every day when we chant Guru Stotram, we chant this particular shloka almost daily. त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव, त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव, त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव, त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव. If you ever go to a Maharashtrian family, especially on a Sankashti or on Ganesh Chaturthi day, when they chant Sukhakarta, Dukhaharta, and in that same tune they will chant this also. It's quite popular shloka. Everybody knows this shloka. That, O Bhagavan, whoever is your Ishtadevata, it doesn't matter if it has to be only Hanumanji here. Anybody who is your Ishtadevata, what should be our attitude? Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva. You are the nourishing mother, you are the providing, protecting father. Tvameva mata pita tvameva. Tvameva bandhuhu sakha tvameva. children have this word, and the acronym is BFF. Have you heard of that? Best friend forever. BFF. My bestest friend. Who can be the best friend? That, first of all, who is a friend? Because in today's world, the definition of friendship or friend is also to be understood properly. A friend is not somebody that hides or protects our wrongdoing from being corrected. Friend is not that person who protects us when we do something wrong from being revealed. Because often it is shown or understood that if one of such is revealed or being corrected, you are turning against me. Friend is that fellow or that person, that individual that has absolute good for me and my welfare in their heart. Even if it means that I have to stand up for you, against you, to correct you, knowing very well that you might be misunderstood and lose that connection of friendship because they may misunderstand, and yet you take the responsibility to correct and save them. Such one is a true friend, and in an entire life of 70-80 years, we may get one or two of such kind. They are a treasure, don't lose them. And who is one person that has never abandoned us? It is that Bhagavan himself. Even if we have forgotten, he is the one who never forgets us. If it was an Egyptian or a Greek god who is not invoked and worshipped, and thereby they get angry and jealous, अब तक कितने कोड़े पड़े होते हमको if we had that kind of a god system. And in our dharmic approach, we have never been insisted upon to be scared of or afraid of Bhagwan ever. Let that point sink in. We have never been petrified by any source of scripture or Guru Sampradaya that you have to be fearful of God. Khuda ka khauf. That is not our way. If at all we have to be scared of something which I had earlier mentioned, we have to be only scared of our karma. The result of which is not going to be something that which can imagine even to escape from. We cannot. If at all, we have to be careful. How am I acting, reacting, responding in this present moment? Because whatever is the intention and intensity with which I work, it is going to come back to me square and clean. Though we try to find the reasons of why. Why is this happening to me? And it is always staring at us. Whether it is good, bad, ugly, indifferent, horrifying, whatever is happening unto me when we search for a question why, anybody trying to answer you, trying to pacify you, console you, will fail to do it because they would want to sugarcoat it. But Vedanta clearly puts it across. What does it say? That for whatever intersection of experience that we are going through at this present moment or ever again is only because of that which I have triggered in the past. Whether it is immediate past or a remote past doesn't matter. Remote past, earlier lives. Immediate past, within this life. It will come back to us. So if at all we have to fear, it is my attitude, aptitude, intensity and the direction of clarity with which I function in this particular moment. But never to be afraid of, scared of Bhagavan. Our Bhagavan or Ishwariya Tattva is not a punitive God system. Whatever is the action and the reaction to it, it is at the level of the nature, and Paramatma or Ishvara is above that. And in this field we have lot of misconceptions. अधपके अधूरे कॉन्सेप्ट्स रख के घूमते हैं हम लोग. Half baked. If it is half baked, it is not wisdom anymore. It is not even proper knowledge. When we look for Bhagavan and his ways, he is not the one that is actually deciding what kind of result. He probably might be only looking for when it has to be delivered to us. What decides the result? I had a friend. He used to work in Siddhivinayak temple because he was the son of the head priest. Long time ago. So when I had gone to visit Siddhivinayak temple, I called him up and met him. He said, no, I will be there. So we can hang out after the arati is done if you have time. So one of the questions that I asked very casually, when is the crowd in this temple the highest? So he said, definitely the Ganesh Chaturthi is the highest. So my next guess was, monthly there is 2 Sankashti Chaturthi that comes. So maybe at that time, he said no. I was now intrigued. I said, when then? He said, just before the exam results are to be announced. That intrigued me. Not before the exams. Bhagavan, give me the strength, courage, energy to face my exams with a proper balanced mindset, to be reminded of all the answers that I have learnt. Makes sense, right? But no. When do most of them go? The number is so high that it is as good as the Ganesh Chaturthi is just before the exams results are to be announced. All of the kids, all of the students and their parents line up. What is the expectation? Bhagavan, I may have done not so good in this exam. Is baar ke liye, for this once. Let me get across. And then there is bargain deals. if I pass in good numbers, I will come back and break 11 coconuts. Or parents have this strange vows in front of Bhagwan. I will have my son come to Tirupati and do Mundan. तुम अपना करवाओ. As though Bhagwan is, we are reducing the concept of Bhagwan to a cheap sentinel that can be bribed with these 11 coconuts. I am not, but if I were there, even as a gatekeeper of Bhagwan, I would have said, ये ले interest के साथ 12th coconut back to you. Get out. Our Vedanta is very clear. You do an action consciously or unconsciously, the result of it comes back to you. That is the way of the nature, Prakriti Swarupaha. Even unconsciously, Swamiji. I'll give you an example. You draw the conclusion to yourself. When you touch an electric wire, a live electric wire with your bare hands, everybody had a shock? Yes or no? I am not talking of the winter times when there is a static shock. Live electric wire shock, उसका मजा ही अलग है. Everybody experienced it? Anybody here who has not experienced it? Chandu bhai, ready Bharata ma? Right, live demonstration. When you touch a live wire, you have a shocking experience. Literally and figuratively. Isn't that the experience? Supposing you were asleep and the wire that was connecting, a live wire that was connecting to a nightstand or your cell phone wire or something which got unplugged. It got torn from that joint and the live wire is gaping out. While in your sleep you twist and turn and your hand falls on that live wire. Unconscious totally, there is no actor, there is no doership, there is nothing involving from your side. It is an involuntary action of your hand falling on that live wire. Let us see this whole moment in slow motion. Hand is slowly falling on it. The electricity devata there sitting is now evaluating. Ayyo pavamda. Tungitirka. Fellow is sleeping. Doesn't know what kind of impact it is going to hit him. Do you think electricity is going to evaluate the person, the intensity, the attitude, the aptitude of that person to give the result or to reduce the result? Nature's way is brutal, straightforward. Is there no mercy here? Try asking that to a live wire. That is Prakriti Swarupa. Am I getting across? We have these wrong expectations. First of all, we have to weed out all these wrong concepts in our understanding. I just gave you one of the examples. Bhagwan cannot be somebody that can be bargained upon. That I offer 11 coconuts or 100 coconuts, doesn't matter what the quantity is. Do not reduce Bhagwan to our level of cheapness. then he is not Ishvara, if he can be bargained upon. Then people have confusions. Then what is your take on horoscope? In our Sampradaya, in our Vaidika Sanatana Dharma, Haindava Dharma, wherever the word is used as Shastra, it means authentic system of knowledge. Horoscope is called what Shastra? Jyotishya Shastra, authentic format of knowledge, system of knowledge. For a lay person to understand the scope of the horoscope, there are two parts to it. One is pure mathematical genius, calculations. There is a bottom line that you arrive at. And for that you need a precision of input. There are two parameters of precision input. One is your GPS location, longitude and latitude. And the second is the exact time that you were born, to the minute, to the second. You cannot round it off. Many things can get rounded off later then. These two are the generic or the specific input into the horoscope. There are today many apps that are there which precisely brings you the bottom line. A horoscope can be created within under 2 minutes if these two parameters are given to it. It will etch out all the details and give you the mathematical bottom line. Once you reach to that mathematical bottom line, that is where is the second part. You have to look at various systems of analysis and draw intuitive conclusions. And wherever there is intuition involved, there is a big scope of people having variations, including fakeness. There is scope. Just because there is a scope for somebody to fake it, it doesn't make that Shastra invalid. It is a valid Shastra. So we go, because we have tried allopathy, naturopathy, homeopathy. Nothing of this works. Run to Pashupati, Tirupati. That also doesn't work. Then we go to, in our desperate moments, there will be one relative of ours who would say Vastu also. There will be another fellow who would say horoscope also. I said, oh, you have this dosha. Do this kind of upachara, this kind of havan, this kind of japa, this kind of mantra, this kind of tirtha, whatever is required. When gods cannot be purchased, you cannot even imagine it that way of the Ishvara Tattva, then what is all these equations? A valid, legitimate question. All these upachara cannot take away the experience for which we alone are responsible to the result of. But what it can do, these upacharas, is prepare our mind in such a way that it becomes robust enough to face that which we have to face with easiness, so that the impact of it can be, the harshness of the impact can be dealt more intelligently, in a more knowledgeable way. You will be able to handle it. It is not going to avoid you from that circumstance. The impact of it can be handled better. So don't fear God. If at all we have to fear only our karma. I wouldn't even say the karma phala. If you have not taken care of your karma, karma phala will bite you wherever it has to bite you. There are no sudden miracles that are going to happen. Once with Puja Gurudev in Siddhabari, there was this Amma that came to meet him. She was a little fat. And she came complaining to Gurudev even before she prostrated. Swamiji, what to tell? I am not eating at all and still I am putting on weight. So Gurudev was in his room. If you have seen Siddhabari Gurudev's Kutiya, right? He pushed his chair to the hall where he could see all of us seated, and then leans and says, Come, here is the effect without a cause. Definitely a miracle. Her claim was that there is no cause, but there is the effect. ये असंभव है. There has to be, and it has to be me alone. But for the one that anchors himself or herself into Bhagwan, the stability that comes inside is immeasurable. When the mind is agitated and we are searching for solutions, we fail to find solutions. When that mind is anchored to something which is very stable, the stability is a drawn process, induced effect onto our mind as well. And in that stability, I can look for the proper solution applicable in that particular moment. And in order to create that stability, the mind has to not just feel positive, but it has to throb and aggressively express in positivity. Come what may, if this is unfolding as my experience, whatever be the situation, if this is the experience unfolding in my life, Bhagwan is with me. He is my father, mother, friend, confidant. He is my source of confidence and energy. He will turn my head to that direction where that solution can look obvious. Just because I say that I trust in Bhagwan, He is not going to come and do anything for you. At the end of the day, it is our responsibility to execute and face that responsibility. What we normally anticipate is some kind of a Harry Potter situation, tada, and Bhagwan has come, everything is cleared. Bahut change. No, that is not how it works. Let me give you an example for your conviction. If you go into the school complex, as you enter, there is one beautiful murti of Bhagwan Krishna. We worship him. Pandavas in their life, who was constantly with them? Bhagwan was at every step of their life consistently being with them. Because we have a wrong calculation again, wrong conviction. If I am trusting Bhagwan, there should not be any kind of misery in my life. क्या ठेका ले रखा है क्या? ठेकेदार समझ रखे हो? We do all kinds of nonsense and suddenly Bhagwan has to step in and take the responsibility of our life and suddenly change it. That very Bhagwan that which we are worshipping today was there in a live format with Pandavas. Tell me or show me one pleasant moment of period in their life where they did not have problems. They did not have miserable situations around them. Show me one. Where were they born? In some seclusion. Remember? Pandu had taken leave of absence from being the king. In that leave of absence, he had appointed Dhritarashtra as a representative only, with the firm advice of Bhishma and Vidura. Where were these Pandavas born? In seclusions in some forest area. Then both Madri and Pandu die. Pandu dies, Madri gives up her life. Kunti brings these little kids, 5 of them, back to Hastinapura. Right from that age till the Mahabharata war, show me one moment in their life which they had, which they can claim, which we can claim, they had a pleasant, beautiful, amazing period. None whatsoever. Just to give you an idea, unlike what B.R. Chopra showed in his Mahabharata, do you know what was the age of these Pandavas and Bhagwan Krishna while they were on the battlefield? Yes. बड़ा रेंज बता रहे हैं आप, 60 to 80. Let me give you the reverse calculation. That was at the time when the arrow was shot on his toe, because of which he had to leave the body. He was 125 years old. That incident happened 36 years after the Mahabharata war. The arrow hitting on Bhagwan Krishna's toe happened when he was 125. That was 36 years after the Mahabharata war. So on the Mahabharata war field, how old was Bhagwan Krishna? Approximately, calculate karo na, 125 minus 36, 89. इतना मैं शुद्ध मैथमेटिक्स बता रहा हूं, मैं गेसवर्क भी नहीं होगा. It is 89, clear. Yudhishthira and Bhima were older than Bhagwan Krishna. Did you know that? In Mahabharata, when you are studying the original, not the Amar Chitra Katha, the original Vyasa Mahabharata, there several occasions when Bhagwan Krishna comes to visit Pandavas, Krishna, out of the Maryada, he is shown prostrating to both Yudhishthira and Bhima because they were older than him. Arjuna, Nakula, Sahadeva were younger than Krishna. So, Bhagavan Krishna himself was 89. Yudhishthira and Bhima above 89. Arjuna, Nakula, Sahadeva 1 year each younger than Bhagavan Krishna. They were not some youthful young people on the chariots. They were in their late 80s. With all the comfort of the AC, the car and everything, at 55, 60, I have become very old. 90 होने को आ रहे हैं उनके. At 90, morning Suryodaya 6 o'clock or 5:30, whenever was the Suryodaya, till the evening Suryasta, running on the chariot over that uneven surfaces, while trying to manage and maintain the chariot, making sure that nobody attacks the chariot or the horses or the charioteer, the one who is for whom the chariot is being driven. They shoot, protect and win over. At what age? In their late 80s. Why did I go through all this account of their age? Right from the age of them being about 4 or 5 years old when they came to Hastinapura, up until this time of the Mahabharata war, they have lived about 8 decades. Not one moment where there was no miserable moment. Who was there with them all along? Bhagavan Krishna at every step of the way. Did he ever give them a false hope or a false promise, saying that close your eyes, I will take care of everything? Not a single moment. Not a single moment. In fact, even on the battlefield, when Arjuna's thinking capacity is completely gone for a toss, Bhagavan Krishna stops the chariot in between the army, rewires his thinking with 700 slokas. It is like taking the vehicle to the overhauling. The local people call it overhauling. The actual word is overhauling. To rehaul the entire system. He rewires him. Arjuna comes back to his senses and he says, Karishye vachanam tava nashto mohaha smrutir labdha. My delusion is gone. I am back to my senses. I now remember what is my responsibility. I will fulfill my responsibility. That is the result of Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavan did not do any magic there. How come we come to misunderstand and come to this point to say that I have been coming to the temple, I have been a fervent devotee, I have full trust in Bhagavan. Nothing is happening in my life. Nothing will happen in your life unless we take responsibility of everything that which we ought to do, including our attitude, aptitude, intensity, direction, the clarity of that direction required. That squarely is in my lap to decide. The buddhi to be grounded that Bhagavan and His presence can provide for us when we are connected to the divine. When it is said, Tum rachhak kahu ko darna, sab sukh lahe tumhari sarana, it is not meaning to say that Bhagavan will come and suddenly remove all my miseries and suddenly, tada, I am always, right? Bhagavan came yesterday night. There is no such wherein suddenly things will change. Bhagwan will come on our behalf and take that responsibility. Nothing like that. But once we know that already the system with which we are blessed with, we have taken things for granted. Without us praying, without us trying to fulfill with any kind of karma kanda or upasana, He has blessed us with enough. 2 हाथ काम कर रहे हैं, 2 पैर काम कर रहे हैं. The entire system of this body, mind and intellect is functional. We have taken it for granted. Any one of this organ not functioning, His providence cannot be doubted. Imagine it this way. When your children were growing up, you have to send them on a field trip, picnic, science museum, somewhere you have to send them. It is not the usual school, though the school is arranging for all the bus and teachers and chaperones and everything to take care. When you send your child to this special day, do you not take care of providing for everything that which you could visualize for the welfare of that child and well-being? पानी का बोतल, खाने का सामान, and that day being a special day, it is not the usual, but it is something special. Then snacks, then candy bars, then a fruit, just in case. And a paper slip with your address, your name, your phone number. If suppose something were to happen and the child gets stranded somewhere and gets lost with the entire group, something is, you have taken care of providing all these aspects. I'm on the fly thinking about these things. I'm not even a parent. You as a parent, what are all the things that you would have taken care? Poor class teacher, you would have called them at least a dozen times to know what are the things that are taken care, what are the things that you have to take care, what are the things that you have to provide, how you have to provide, where is the pickup, where is the drop off. कच्चा दिमाग चाट गई होंगी उनकी क्लास टीचर की. And you are not hesitant about doing it, right? मेरा बच्चा, I have to provide for. As a mortal, when we take care of our own child with this intensity, that Ishvara who has created it, do you think that he will leave us alone? That is what it means, तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना. To have faith, to have Shraddha, is to never doubt this aspect. That He is benevolent, His providence cannot be questioned. He has given more than that is required with spare parts. और क्या चाहिए? एक आंख काम नहीं कर रहा, दूसरा आंख है. One lung doesn't work, there's another. One hand, one leg, spare part. And what ingenious system that if taken care properly, this can survive for at least 9-10 decades flawlessly. How many of you drive a car or a scooter? Please raise your hand so that I can see. Thank you. How many miles once you have to change your car tires? 40 to 50,000 miles, kilometers. How many thousand kilometers once you have to fine tune the tires and change their rotation? 5 to 6,000 kilometers. कभी हाथ पैर को ऐसा करना पड़ा आपको? Look at the ingeniousness. The hand tissue is very soft and yet goes through maximum abuse, and it refits itself with the skin layers again and again and again. Rejuvenating every cell. I am told that in every 7th year the entire body at a cellular level changes. It is not the same as it was 7 years ago. It has changed. Automated. Imagine if you had to go to a spare part to constantly change all of these. No need for it. But Swamiji, after we cross 65, 70, the teeth go away, we have to replace teeth. That means stop eating junk food. You don't require teeth beyond this period because you have to now only gulp down the sattvic food. Not the kudrum munch. But the jihva chapalya is so much. I remember, old people, they used to carry that little small mortar and pestle. Everybody is having murku. They are true Vedantin. जिनके दांत नहीं है. But the craving for the taste is not gone. So that murku a little bit has to go into their mortar and pestle and tuku. He has provided for everything that we require. All that we have to do is use it properly in the right direction, in fulfilling the responsibility in such a way that we don't have to come back to the square one again and again. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam, iha samsare bahudussare krupaya pare pahi murare. That should be the focal point. That the dharma, artha, kama should be geared towards moksha. So the counter logic given, we are not sannyasis like you, Swamiji, we are grihasthas. Do you mean to say that moksha is not for the grihasthas? The chaturvida purushartha, phala, is equally meant and you are qualified as a grihastha for the chaturtha purushartha. Who has filled it up in your mind with a wrong conviction, wrong understanding or idea that moksha is not for grihastha? What was Ekanath? What was Tukaram? All these great saints, were they not grihasthas? It is open. There is no such dogma that you have to change the color of your cloth and then before you will become qualified for it. Every individual, wherever, whichever varna, wherever, whichever ashrama, you are qualified for it. Chaturtha Purushartha is not restricted only to a certain few. Am I getting across? That is when there is the sarthakata of having been born as a human being. Because that is the only sole purpose of our being born. And in order to face our overwhelming situations, the only constant within is that Bhagavan. Hold on to that Bhagavan tightly. He will constantly provide you with that clarity of mind. We all know Gayatri Mantra. Om Bhur Swah Tatsa Viturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi. What is the last line? और जोर से. मतलब जानते हैं ना? What is the request? The request is not for some miraculous experience, mystical experience, mysterious experience, out of the world experience. Because in the name of spirituality, what gets prominence is these kinds of fringe elements. What is the last line saying? All this fine tuning so that Bhagavan give me that stability and sharpness of intellect within. और कुछ नहीं पूछ रहे. Dhiyo yo naha, that dhi which you have already blessed me with, may I with this effort constantly furnish it to be sharp, alert, vigilant, available. How do I know that Bhagavan I am holding on properly or not? If your buddhi is this alert as stated in that mantra, that means you are very well connected with Bhagavan. See, when you are a child, there is no child that grows up without making mistakes. Right? Small, big, unwanted, every child has to go through it. Isn't it? When parents come and say, what do I do with my child? I tell them, give them the scope to make those mistakes so that you are able to teach them how to grow out of it. Because the moment they step out of your umbrella and protection, they are expected to give that kind of clarity to other generations. To protect them from making mistake is not the viable solution. Therefore, even Bhagavan, when he provides the experiences like he has provided for Pandavas, because they were so thoroughly going through that system of life, that when he had to establish dharma back, it was because they had done that kind of severe tapas, that they were ready, prepared to be his instruments. Not to be protected from these miserable moments, but to go through them, because there is no way out of karma. The only way out is through it. So that we become the right, truthful instruments of that Bhagavan. And Bhagavan Krishna is very indicative about his life. He is that person who has never turned back or carried anything forward with any sense of attachment. He moved from Gokul to Mathura, Mathura to Dwarika, Dwarika to Hastinapur, Hastinapur back to Dwarika. He has not gone back to the earlier place. If they come and meet, he is open. But he has shown complete detachment. Such a detached fellow, throughout his life, from Gokul to Mathura to Dwaraka to Hastinapura, there is one particular thing that he has always carried and cherished carrying on him. Do you know what? thing. It was the flute. It started in Gokul. He carried that flute even as an ambassador to represent Pandavas in the court of Dhritarashtra. The symbolic idea is, when can the flute be considered as a specifically beautiful instrument? When it is emptied out. That is when it can become an instrument in the hand of Bhagavan, and through that such instrument alone, music can flow. Otherwise, in the olden days when we used to have chula, right? Where you used to put logs and that is your cooking fire. When the fire diminishes, our dadis and nanis used to bring a pipe and then blow. When you are blowing, technology is there. It is not to be inside your mouth while you are blowing. It has to be away from your mouth at least an inch or so, and then you blow into it. If you are blowing it in your mouth, holding it in your mouth, even the existing fire will get finished. When you blow out, what comes out of our lungs? Definitely not oxygen, carbon dioxide. Does carbon dioxide provide the room for fire, or does it diminish it? So therefore the technology was, keep it at a distance so that when you are blowing, the outside air siphons into it, targeting onto that embers which are burning, so that oxygen is provided. At least there is a utility. You and I, if we blow, it will be like that or worse than that. But if that has to transform into a flute and it produces amazing music, it has to be emptied out. Am I ready? Am I prepared to empty myself out? Probably that is why Gurudev named the entire organizational umbrella as CC, empty. You get the picture? Empty yourself. तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना, आपन तेज संहारो आपे, तीनों लोक हांकते कापे, भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे, नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा. This is one sentence where I find the collective volume of all the people chanting suddenly increases. तीनों लोग हांकते कापे, भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर. It increases. सबको डर लगा रहता है. स्वामी जी, are there these bhuta preta pishacha? So when one day somebody was asking me, I ended up answering that day as, if you are a possibility, then definitely that is also a possibility. That individual got offended. So I had to call him back, sit him down and say, understand the logic. You are Pancha Mahabhuta. In them, two of the Pancha Mahabhuta is non-functional. The other three they are expressing through, therefore you and I cannot see. But do they exist? स्वामी जी डराओ मत, आज रात हो गया है. Any kind of these negative forces or energy, like Bhuta, Preta, Pishacha, Shakini, Dakini, ityadi, Brahma Rakshasa, Vaitala, who gave the darshan of Hanumanji or the idea of darshan to Hanumanji to Tulsidas ji? Yesterday only we saw the story. It was Brahma Rakshasa. Oh, I thought it was just a story. Now this makes it very real. You mean to say there are Bhuta? So read the entire sentence. Bhuta Pishacha Nikata Nahi Ave. Those whose mind is constantly tuned to that higher divine principle, these negative forces refuse to come any close to them. There is a story in Bhagavan Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's life. One of his very early students, who wanted to have a lot of mystical, magical kind of influence, was not very pleased with Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. He used to constantly ask him, are there such mystical forces? He would say, yes. Will you teach me? He would say, no need. So finally, after a year and a half, he felt frustrated, left Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, and after close to 14 years, he comes back to meet him on the Kali Ghat. Because he knows, having served him, that Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, being a man of his habit and discipline, he would come early in the morning, rain or shine, to take bath in Gangaji, early morning. So he was waiting upon for his display. So he comes and he starts showing off by running on the water, walking on the water. So Ramakrishna Paramahamsa looks at him and said, good. And then he takes bath, doesn't appreciate any further. What, don't you think this is impressive? He says, that student. So Ramakrishna Paramahamsa very coolly sits down and he says, how many years have you spent on this? He says, 14 years. What did you have to do? I had to go through a tantric and he taught me to control a particular being, one of these kinds of being. And I ordered that being to carry me across. And to master this, it took me 14 years. He says, the sentence there in that works of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa says, Adha Ana. Half an anna if you had given to the boatman, he would have taken you across for the entire month. For that, you wasted 14 years. See, these kinds of beings, these negative forces, they are a reality. But they will not mess with an individual who has his heart completely dedicated and connected with that divine constantly. But the problem with us is, as Kabir Das ji puts it, we remember of Bhagwan only when we are in troubled situations. दुख में सुमिरन सब करे, सुख में करे न कोई. जब सुख में सुमिरन सब करे, that question is very important. दुख काहे को होए? We tend to remember Bhagwan whenever we are in troubled situations. As soon as things ease up, we also ease up. We don't think of Bhagwan. So Kabir Das ji asks, if we can consistently maintain that connection with Bhagwan even in times of good, why at all will there be dukkha? This is one perspective. The another perspective is even more encouraging. That is the perspective of Kunti Devi. After the entire war was done, Bhagwan looked at everybody and said, I am in the mood of giving you boons. What Kunti Devi asks is baffling. She says, Bhagwan, bless me with dukkha. That is the last part of this sloka. Bless me with dukkha. Her analysis is, whenever I or my family went through dukkha, my mind constantly was forced to think of you and you were right next to me. Therefore, if your presence is guaranteed, then I don't mind going through dukkha. The third sentence is the most important. If your presence is guaranteed, then I don't mind going through dukkha, therefore bless me with dukkha. If we are going through dukkha, what should it mean? If we are going through troubled systems or days or times, what should it mean? भगवान के साथ कनेक्ट होने का अपना भी नंबर आ गया है. Not the other way around. Why has God forsaken me? Why has God given up on me? Why am I facing so much of dukkha? तपता है तो ये सोना बनता है. The ore has to go through a process of intense heat for it to be purified, to be called as gold, so that the abhushana can be made that can adorn that Bhagwan. The chemical composition of diamond and coal, charcoal, is same to same. It's carbon. But one is valued, the other has no value. One has gone through intense pressure, intense isolation. The other has seldom gone through anything. That is why it has become diamond, one of the hardest, shiny marvels of this creation. Our attitude of looking at dukkha or the troubled situations, if that changes and connects us back to Bhagavan, the mind which is constantly connected with Bhagavan, no such dushta shakti can ever impact. In fact, the intensity of the connection is higher, because we again say, especially when we talk of our children, we end up saying, my child is 24 karat gold. But it is sadly the company which destroyed him. The group of friends that destroyed him. If your child was really that 24 karat, the company should have changed and morphed into his being. Proof, Prahlada. Where was he? He was in a Rakshasa Gurukula, where Vakratva was taught day in and day out. But the entire group of people, that students that were there in that Gurukula when he became the student, within 6 months changed because of the intense presence of one Prahlada. Now tell me, in comparison to Prahlada's life, have we gone through even 1 ounce, 1 fragment of an ounce of what he has gone through in his life? Not even a comparison. And yet we say Bhagavan has forsaken us. The moment that thought comes, we have to reevaluate what is my Shraddha in Bhagavan. Because tum rakshaka, kahu ko darna bhai? See, what should be the, in Bombay Hindi there is a word is bindast. Bindast matlab what? Care a hoot for anything troubling. Why? I have Bhagavan on my side. In Rudram, the first Anuvaka when you chant, not the Chamaka, the Rudra, Namaka part, when you chant, it describes of terrifying presence of Bhagavan Rudra. That he has a bow in his hand and it is tensed up, the arrow is already put in place and he is aiming. And the devotee who is coming towards Bhagavan looks at this angry Shiva, is terrified inside out, recants all the things that he has done in his life which he should not have done, or done things which he should, or not done things which he should have. He recants all of that and reaches to Bhagavan. Then he sees, oh, it is not aimed at me. Then he turns around to see that it is aimed at those that which would stop him from reaching close to Bhagavan. Then the shift of the stuti is clearly seen from the second Anuvaka. Bhagavan is always ready, trying to protect. How many ever times I may have joked about how Bhagavan stands. This I usually tell, this means stop your nonsense. If you repeat it, move forward. I don't feel like seeing you. My interpretation. But actually what does this mean? Abhaya and Varada. On one hand he is giving you Abhaya, and the second hand he is your very source and resource. He is already providing it. If he is already providing his grace, why don't I feel it? Turn your foolish switch on. Electricity is there, bulb is there. करना क्या अपने को? तभी तो बत्ती जलेगी ना. Even if it is a tube light. When will that glow? When I from my side have to put that effort. Once that connection is there, no negative force from the outside can ever disturb us. Whether Adhi or Vyadhi can be handled with peace in mind. Vyadhi, physical. Adhi, mental agitations and aberrations. They can be handled, provided I am connected and my Shraddha is unshakable in Bhagavan. थोड़ा सा झटका हुआ जिंदगी में, वी स्टार्ट क्वेश्चनिंग, उन्नावा అసలు ఉన్నావా, ఉంటే పల్లీలు తింటున్నావా. What kind of ridiculousness is this Shraddha and Bhakti? How dare you even question about him? If at all we can question, is my Shraddha unshakable in him? He has been always there whether you have recognized him or not. If we ever go through that kind of situations where the mind is agitated, we feel that there is a lot of negativity in our life, then he says, महावीर जब भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे. When there is lot of negativities in our life, chant this particular mantra, Om Mahaviraya Namaha. Om Mahaviraya Namaha. When there are lot of negativities around, chant this mantra. Those who are going through that intense moment, ask them to chant this mantra. On their behalf, you also can chant for them, for their sake. If anybody going through Adhi and Vyadhi, mental aberrations and despondency and lot of things that happen in the inside world, or Vyadhi, how does one build that courage in that individual to face that life? It's said in the next one, नासय रोग हरे सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा. Om Hanumate Namaha. What is the first mantra? Om Mahaviraya Namaha. Second, Om Hanumate Namaha. This is the guarantee from Hanumanji himself. But how should we do it? Man krama bachana ध्यान जो लावे. Do it with Trikarana Shuddhi. That when I am doing this japa, when I am trying to connect with Bhagavan, thought, word and deed should be focused and directed only on that act. When is it called not an integrated effort? When thought is running somewhere else, word is running somewhere else, act is trying to show as though I am doing sadhana. Om Achyutaya Namageshwaya Namah Namah. Breakfast ready ayinda? Orini dumpadega. Where is your focus? Not on Bhagavan. తిండిపోతు రామన్నగా తిండి కంటే ఇంకా వేరే దృష్టి లేదు. The claim and the act shows as though doing it towards Bhagavan, but the drishti is elsewhere. That is not called Trikarana Shuddhi. The thought, word and deed should be in unison. And then chant this, you will see the effect. We will continue on this Trikarana Shuddhi tomorrow, and tomorrow is the last day. So as you are coming in, you would have been given. Today he was scared because I picked on him last night that he was my timer. So he was there only, not visible to me. So tomorrow being, tomorrow being the last day, that Yajna Prasada, the Guru Dakshina covers would have been given. So anybody new here for the very first time coming to this premises? Okay. For their benefit, I will revisit that whole is The envelope has some columns, some rows to fill. Please fill those. Give your name, number, address, and if you are interested in more of this, give your email and phone numbers so that we can reach back to you. And if you think that this effort of yajna has benefited you, touched you in any way, support us by, if you open the envelope, it will be empty. When you give, fill it up with the thought that it should be beneficial for the organization to do many more such activities. So once somebody asked, Swamiji, what is this, some kind of a fees? I told them, look, I may be a sannyasi, but I am not a bad businessman. If I had to run this as a business and have it for a fee, when should I have collected this? Thoda jor se. Before, right? So this is not a fee, this is a parampara called Guru Dakshina, wherein you are offering this to the entire Guru Parampara and to maintain this Sanatana Vaidika Dharma. Therefore, any amount is welcome, and please be liberal and generous. That's all I have to say. I will stop. Your question after the Arati I will take one-on-one. ओम सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय। ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम।